So this is a viewer-submitted list of Dragonstorm. I'm just starting card for card with what they've sent in, and we'll probably make some edits as we go from there. One thing that's kind of interesting about this build that I'm curious to see how it feels is we're not playing any copies of Faithless Looting in this build. We are notably playing Cathartic Pyre and Prismari Command as utility cards that let us loot things into the bin. The combo, if you are not familiar, is if we have a Terror of the Peaks or a Bladewing the Risen in our graveyard, and then we Mizzix Mastery a Dragonstorm, we then deterministically kill our opponents. And how this works is, if you get any combination of 2 Bladewings and a Terror of the Peaks, Bladewing is legendary, so when the second one comes into play, the first one goes away, and then the other Bladewing brings the Bladewing that's died back into play. So you sit there and you loop these legendary Bladewings coming into play constantly, and every time they come back, they deal 4 damage to the opponent, and this loop happens until the opponent dies. The rest of the deck is just like good spells. We've got Memory Lapses and Archmage's Charms, which are probably 2 of the best spells in this format. We got Expressive Iteration and Consider for extra card selection. So I think this deck's playing a lot of good cards. The land count might be a touch low at 20. In fact, I think I'm going to cut a Narset here for another land before we start at a minimum. So let's do that, and let's go ahead and dive on into some games with this and see how this goes this morning. Yeah, we do have Consider and Expressive Iteration, which help us cheat on our land drops a little bit. Mr. Lifeguard, thanks for the 2 years. Thought this already went out, or has it been another March already? Let's get the real questions. Rogue Ninja, thanks for the 11 months. Welcome back. Stiggy! I was confused what Weather the Storm had to do with dragons. This makes more sense. Thanks for the 27 months. The blue-black control deck from yesterday is like the definition of not good but great. It is a hoot and a holler. And like this hand, right? Like we don't have a third land, but we've got what? This is, let's just see, 7 extra cards here, so we should be okay. Someone asked if we were the bad guy this morning, and like our deck's definitely a brew. It's just like, you know, this is how you have to brew in Historic, chat. You need to be playing cards that are inside the defined set of playable cards, and you can have a good time. Oh yeah, the blue-black control deck is big. My opponent doesn't value their time and doesn't know they're dead and should concede energy. For sure. I get rid of that one. There's a good chance we find another land with Expressive Iteration. Famous last words. Nice. Okay, so hand, library, exile. Thanks for the follow, Stonefish. Opponent playing some kind of mono artifact deck, it looks like. We just go tap land, pass here, and then they don't give us something worth Archmage Charming. We'll probably draw 2, discard 2 with the Cathartic Pyre. We have dragons we wouldn't mind binning. Morning, Dwight. So there is some concern that we could get Ulamog to this game. But like Ugin and stuff I'm not super worried about. That's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and shuffle here before we put cards in the bottom of our deck. And library exile. Yeah, Charm can take Snake for sure. So they have 7 mana right now. It could have been right to just use the command to shatter the Hedron Archive there. We're gonna keep him off this one. Here. Really want to shuffle because I put a Bladewing on the bottom of my deck. So they are dead to a Mizzix Mastery at this point. What's going on, Zach? Welcome back. Magic Arena's current formats are in a pretty reasonable place overall. Yikes. Hey, morning, John. Thanks for the 19 months. Welcome back. When it rains, it pours, fam. Clearly shouldn't have added the 21st land. Time to cut a land. We have the empirical evidence we need. Alright, half our deck. 29 cards. Good golly. Hand. Library. Exile. Two more looks. There's 2 cards, so we have 4 Mizzix Mastery and 26 cards right now. Good stuff. Good stuff. It took us a while. Thankfully, our opponent wasn't really doing a whole lot. So, Bladewing comes into play. Gets Terror back. Bladewing comes into play. Bladewing dies. Bladewing gets Bladewing. Bladewing dies. Bladewing gets Bladewing. Bladewing dies. This is the loop that we were talking about from earlier. These Bladewings just kind of run in a circle until our opponent is dead. On Strange Journey, Dragon Splitter Twin, something like that. Kinda like Dragon Splinter Twin if Splinter Twin needed to use the graveyard. Does the loop break if you don't change the order of the triggers? So the loop doesn't break, but what happens is all the Terror of the Peak triggers get stacked up under the Bladewing trigger, and then if my opponent like gains life or something to get out of the range of the number of Terror triggers I put up, I can no longer finish the combo and kill them. Because, like, you can eventually choose not to bring something black with Bladewing and then resolve a bunch of Terror triggers, but that gives your opponent a chance to interact with you in some way and, like, stop the existing triggers on the stack from killing them. Blue-white mill in Modern. It's interesting. I played a little bit of blue-black on stream when we were doing some Modern recently. A month or so ago. It seems like a Mystical Dispute matchup. I think like 3 mana cancel is probably fine here. Honestly, our main deck's probably pretty reasonable. I'm just gonna like swap an Anger for a Dispute and call it a day. So the 21 months gilded. Welcome back. Blackjack indeed. We mulligan this, right? There's no way to loot double Bladewing in the opener is awkward. This is reasonable. With the third iteration drawn here, we just cast this as just cast this as an anticipate, because we just set ourselves up for like a turn 4 here potentially. Yeah, I mean, even like look at that last game, Symesis, like you also need to draw 1 Bladewing to get going to begin with, because if you don't have... Did I just iteration to start here? I'm an iteration to start. If you don't have a... If you don't have a dragon in the bin to begin with, you need Storm as 2, which is harder. It's harder to get to Storm as 2 than it is to get to Storm as 1. Storm as 1 is free, because the Mizzix Mastery is your 1 Storm. So, like, in order for Storm as 2, you have to, like, play a 1 or 2 mana spell beforehand, too. Well, you need the Legend Roll to go infinite, but, like, you need to, you get to tutor for them.
Cannot withstand a righteous army.
Alright, so there's Terror of the Peak, so we're set up to kill them next turn. Curious choice. Ah, yes. Curiouser and curiouser. So they'll play this cage. We'll shatter the cage plus loot.
Awaken.
And we'll untap and kill them. So, by having a dragon already in place, so here's I'll just show you. This is how the combo works. So, if you don't have, you need 3 dragons total to get the loop going. So, by having a dragon in... the combo takes 3 dragons. So by having a dragon in the bin, you only need Storm as 1 for the Dragonstorm. So if I didn't have a Terror of the Peaks in my graveyard right now, I couldn't combo from this position. So... without a dragon in the graveyard, you can combo with just Mizzix Mastery Dragonstorm and another spell, but that requires more than 4 mana. And our deck actually doesn't have that many 1 mana spells in this build, so you would generally need 6 mana to combo from that spot. Which 6 versus 4 is a big difference. Yes, if you have a second Mizzix Mastery, you can also bin. That is correct. But that requires drawing 2 Masteries, which isn't super likely. This could be something aggressive. I'm actually gonna go tap Steam Vents on 1 so I can have an untapped land on 2 without shocking myself. Just in case. Another turn 4. Maybe we need a dragon or another Mizzix Mastery to turn 4, right? Hey, thanks for the 31 months, Rhino. Welcome back. They bin to Memory Deluge. Okay, Memory Deluge would imply that they're not Phoenix and they're doing something a little bit more slow and grindy, huh? Wasted Life. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate the 10 months. Welcome back. Ourselves a blue-red pseudo control mirror here. Putting the Terror of the Peaks in the graveyard does show our hand a little bit. It's kind of the jig is up type moment, but definitely don't want to draw that. Want to try and work my way towards some lands here. Otherworldly Gaze. I think I might just chill here. If I If I pass here and I like loot, make another treasure, we could set ourselves up for Mastery plus Archmage's Charm next turn. I think with them having this much mana up, I'm just gonna do this and pass. I'm just playing Opt and Consider. Interesting. I think another Memory Deluge, sure. Ten cards in the bin, so the search is gonna flip right over. Win condition is. Yes, the classic expressive iteration after you've already made your land drop. Man, we even have this interface for search for Azcanta. Why doesn't the consider interface just look like this, chat? Why is the consider interface this awkward take action button? Who made these decisions? They have so many good different interfaces for stuff in this game. Thanks for the storm count. Listen, chat. I'm just a product of the environment in which I am playing. I wish we didn't have to memory lapse people, but we do. Sorry, friendo. Still dead. Still deado, friendo. This loop is on fire. Yeah, the click to damage ratio is not particularly ideal with this combo, that's for sure. Disputes and Narsets in, Anger out, Cathartic Pyre out. Rest of this looks fine. Xanthar was fine. It was like, I think the first copy of Xanthar is better than the fourth copy of Lear. So the only problem with this sideboarding plan is I'm down to only 4 ways to loot things into the bin, which could potentially be problematic. So, I mean, the thing that's worth noting, Socio Penguin, is like Lucario's strength in Pokemon Unite isn't in its ability to actually kill opposing characters strictly, so much as it's just much better at last hitting in lane and staying alive while doing so. A lot of Lucario's strength comes from the fact that it's the best early lane bully that has a ton of survivability. I actually think of the 3 Pokemon I would classify as S tier in the current Pokemon Unite metagame, I actually think Lucario is the worst of them. Like, Lucario is still very good and single-handedly creates the 1-1-3 metagame that you see towards the top of Masters, but I actually think at its core, it's not as important as Eldegoss or Venusaur in your composition. Thanks for the 15 months, Frost Guardian. Welcome back. It's the ideal amount of Wrath effects a control deck should play. I have no idea. What format are you playing? Sometimes the answer is none. They test of talented my expressive iterations. It's really rude. I also think Lucario is definitely worse than Venusaur at letting you solo carry games. Like, Venusaur's got a strong back and can, like, 1v9 realistically if you're even, like, 1 level over. Yes, Venu is infinitely easier to play than Lucario. You literally just, like, walk at your opponents and press your buttons and they die. Venusaur is oppressive at the moment. It's really good. Thanks for the 15 months, Frost Guardian. Welcome back. For people that aren't familiar with MOBA jargon, 1v9 refers to, teams are 5v5, but they refer to it as 1v9ing because you're on your own, so you might as well be playing against everybody else, including your teammates. And honestly, the fact that Lucario isn't a strong carry in solo queue, I would bet is a big part of why it hasn't seen a nerf yet. I think Surf is the best for Blastoise. I think Blastoise is one of the characters where you could literally play any combination of its 4 attacks, and it's fine depending on your playstyle and what role you're looking to assume. I'm actually going to play Blastoise to start in the games we're going to play this afternoon, and I'm planning to play, Spin Pump. Do I want to hold on to a Dragonstorm? I don't think so. We're two turns away from mastery into double lapse. I love Pikachu. It's just a little bit underpowered though. It's just not quite mobile enough. I have to discard a card here. Is there missing a land drop again? Good beats. Good beats. And I guess this is awkward. Like, I can't even realistically Mizzix Mastery here. What if I just assume... gonna assume they're gonna fight over this and give me storm count. Thanks. They could have 2 more counter spells here, but YOLO. So the Fallout Kitsune. Mystical Dispute's very likely postboard. Memory lapsing my Memory Lapse. I'm gonna Memory Lapse or Test of Talents again. It does, yeah. If you buy it, it refunds you. Alright, and then we can no longer win without Mizzix Mastery. Yeah, I agree, Coder Chris. Their Pikachu should probably just be like the fastest base speed in the game. It just needs like a scotch more mobility. Definitely one of the things about playing this deck is it's very one-dimensional. I've played Dragonstorm combo decks in the past that they don't play the Bladewing combo, they play Lathis as their combo card. So that way you can just cast the dragons when you draw them. And being able to just cast the dragons when you draw them is much better in matchups like this. And Library Exile. This Smoldering Egg is gonna be a tough nut to crack. I imagine they're gonna be able to cast up to 7 mana worth of spells pretty quickly, and then we don't really have a good answer to it. Pikachu needs to evolve into a Raichu. What's a Raichu? Oh, you mean like the Alolan Raichu? That doesn't have a basic form. Counter their spell rather than discarding the hand size here, I think. I assume they're going to cast something here to flip this over. Honestly, I think I'm just countering whatever card selection they might have, because I need to, like, stop them from building up a critical mass to counter spells so we actually have a shot. I just have so many counter spells. Okay, so... They have triple counterspell again? Mostly watch on YouTube as I work great. Thanks for the content you put out. Someone gifted me a sub, so here's some bits. Hey! Thank you, Nug. I appreciate it. Hope your morning's going swell. I assume you're getting ready to go to sleep if you work the graveyard. Hope you have a good rest. Hey! 5 cards, chat. How many of them are counterspells? Yes, is the answer to the question I have asked. At least you don't have to worry about surgical extraction in this format. That card makes playing graveyard decks and other non-rotating formats a nightmare. Excuse me? Like have a bunch of unholy heats? Yeah, I think we're dead, huh? The Ashmouth's just gonna tear through us.
Practiced against many foes like you, with thoughtfulness before action.
Number 8. Well, so you can't draw the game with Bladewing. Yeah, Bladewing's a meh, it doesn't draw the game. Okay, so we can no longer combo kill them because my third Bladewing is now in the graveyard. So hopefully this 4/4 and this 5/5 are going to be able to get us out of this.
Meditate and prepare.
Okay. So I have 10 total mana. So I think we just cast this normal to kill them with Prismari Command, right? I don't want to overload it because I want to be able to lapse their lapse and then pay for a dispute. Alright, so they need an answer to the Shark, and then they need an answer to the Prismari Command as well, and they only have one card to do it, so they should be dead here. That's not gonna do it, fam. Archmage's Charm is very silly. Easily the best jumpstart card for the set. Nice of them to make us a big giant shark to work with. I actually disagree with Darcy especially. The other cards are like seeing play, but like they're not nearly as omnipresent in the control decks, in the decks that are super popular. So like there's a difference between a playable card and a card that's like a 4X in the best deck, right? One of these things is not like the others. "21 months, Skunky, welcome back." Good morning, good morning. Love to draw land, thank you for asking. Isn't Mono White Humans the best deck with 4X Sentinel? So there haven't really been tournaments, Jacob. So like ladder data is not always one, the untapped data has an incredible amount of response bias present in it. And two, ladder data is rarely, sometimes we see some parallels to tournament stuff, but not always. So like, Mono White has a really good win rate on the ladder, but it also isn't particularly popular, right? And like, one of the things that we generally see as metagames develop is that decks have their win rates go down as they get more popular. I think the Mono White Humans deck is likely very reasonable, but I don't think it's anywhere near being able to be called the best deck in the format, not even close. Gamboni Machine, thanks for the 33 months. Welcome back. This is heckin' rude, chat. Portable hole, your treasure. Love it. I'm gonna give you a really good piece of advice. The devil has enough advocates, so if the only reason you can think of to say something is to be the devil's advocate, your point's probably shitty and you shouldn't make it. Yappy. For me, you shouldn't have. You made this? Thanks, opponent. And library exile. And library exile. I think it's time to YOLO, chat. Hey, Greenie, thanks for the 14 months. Welcome back. Yeah.
Hurry.
Yeah, exhausting is a good descriptor, Billy. I hope we see some amount of movement. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually just gonna concede this matchup. I don't think our deck has a good chance here, and I'm really just kind of tired of playing Memory Lapse mirrors. I hope we see some movement in this format sometime soon, so there's just, like, not Thalia versus... Like, this format is kind of like dual decks Thalias versus Memory Lapses at the moment, which we are playing one of those things, so, like, our deck is probably competitive, but it just doesn't lead to a lot of particularly varied gameplay patterns. And the Riot Games Twitch channel has 260,000 viewers at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday morning. That's just insane. And then the more insane thing, chat, they don't even bot. That's just like, that's actually an organic viewer count. Or they're like a real esport, chat. So 33 months, Matt. So do you unite with viewers? Yeah, pretty much all of the Unite content you see me post is with viewers. I do ask that you are masters to play, because usually people that are masters have at least a base understanding of their characters. Keep that one. Hey, sweet, we found a Thalia deck. Alright, so let's take Pyre to hand, library, exile. We're looking for Mizzix Mastery. Yeah, the quick battles are great. So the 21-month Sailor. actually don't think Charizard is a terrible jungle choice. Some of the better teams have been testing it. How many ranks are there for before Masters? Beginner, Great, Expert, Veteran, Ultra. Five before Masters. And Library Exile. Yeah, what is a veteran ball? It is weird that they're like all named after Pokeballs, then it's like, and veteran. Like, why is this? Definitely not Limu. Yeah, they could have just like done 4 leagues though, Gengar, and like added one more section to each though. It's for the 31 months magical. Welcome back. Okay, so next turn we get 4 looks at a Mizzix Mastery. I kill this one before it can make things. We missed on the Mizzix Mastery. Big sad. We're not in danger of dying next turn, though, so I can activate the Azcanta here to dig. Combo. Combo. Bring me the dragons. Waiting for Prime to renew all morning, so here's to another month of listening to some great content. Thanks for the 2.5 years, Topher. You'll have a fancy new sub badge by the end of the week for 2.5 years. We're getting half-year sub badges with the channel revamp. They could definitely have Containment Priest post-board. They also have a blue splash here, it looks like, so we could see counterspells post-board as well. Was there a patch for Unite? Not a balance patch. They added a new skin. So the problem, and I talked about this earlier, if you're not just coming in, this is a repeat, but the problem with letting the triggers auto order is then it stacks up all of the terror of the peak triggers, and then I have to stop the loop to actually deal damage to kill my opponent, which means if they like collected company to gain life in response, my loop is done and I can't restart it. So it's strictly optimal to reorder those triggers so you hit them with this before the Bladewing trigger happens. So that way they're taking damage as your combo's resolving. Hey, thanks for the 32 months, Vengeance. Welcome back. I definitely want these fries. I think I want the Anger of the Gods. I think this might actually be worse than, like, Brazen Borrower, though. A lot of their things have, like, 4+ toughness. Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah, Borrower is definitely better counterplay against Flash and Priest. He's accurate. Brazen Borrower also deals with Rest in Peace. Fried Bishop of Wings, anyone? We use Discord, Grubbish. Unite technically has built-in comms, but I've never tried them. RQR Master X85. Thanks for the over 5.5 years. Welcome back. So we basically have to chill / try and survive until we can bounce this loot and then go. The fact that we have 2 terrors in hand, this could just be like a cast terror, cast Brazen Borrower game. Yeah, Cathartic Pyre looking much better than Cathartic Pyre looking much better than Faithful Suiting here. Yeah, it's pretty fortunate that we drew the terrors and didn't draw the Bladewings. I guess I should have dealt it to them, right? Because then I would have had lethal this turn. All right, good chat. Here there be dragons. Roar. And that's something that happens with decks like this in non-rotating formats some amount of the time. Like, if you have this pivot plan, even if it's kind of weak, like, your opponent, like, keeps some kind of mediocre hand with the sideboard hate card, then their sideboard hate card just doesn't beat your secondary plan. The Firefighter Blastoise skin is pretty good. They did a good job with it. Thanks everybody for hanging out this morning, by the way. If you're new to the channel or if you're one of my returning viewers that hasn't been around the last few days, we got that triple D command in the title, which stands for the Daily Deck Digest. I've started on a new YouTube venture, which is doing some edited content for the first time. So we play a ton of different decks on stream, and that Daily Deck Digest channel posts 1 video per day highlighting the best of the things that we've played on stream. and it looks to showcase the games where that deck really kind of pops off or does its thing the best to showcase what it's capable of. So, different than the long-form YouTube content you're used to seeing me posting that are just full stream segments. A little more concise. That channel posts between like a half hour and 40-minute video each day is the goal. Assume we're losing Azcanta here. If they have an answer to it, they might take like the Memory Lapse instead. Yeah. And send this back from whence it came. I think I'm ditching the command here, actually, because I want to recoup some card advantage here. So hopefully we just like draw a blue source. I'm still posting full uncut segments on the Jeff Hoagland channel, Lampton. Nice. Village rights or something here to sack this? Nope. Listen, I can't be expected to help people that don't help themselves, Limpton. Alright, if we're a true master, this Consider will get to ditch a Dragonstorm into the graveyard, and then Mizzix Mastery. And then Mizzix Mastery will get to pop off. Did I hire an editor for my second channels? I did not.
Oh, today's my lucky day.
Video editing is not cheap, chat. It's a very time-consuming process.
You're going down.
If you're doing it right. Kind of like, I'm just gonna have someone do simple edits like I'm already doing. That don't take me that much time. Alright, we have died. We can no longer win the game. Borrower's like okay against Croxa. Well, Laturi doesn't really go in any combo decks. Is there a Laturi deck we could build in this format? Yeah, probably. You probably play a blue X control deck with Laturi in it. I think there's enough cards for that in this format at this point. It's probably not incredibly embarrassing, only a little bit embarrassing. Now, honestly, you probably wouldn't even want to play Tainted Pack. Like, getting to play a one of Tainted Pack probably isn't worthwhile to mess up your mana base. How's Historic feeling anyways? It's like dual decks Memory Lapse versus Thalia for the most part. How has the mana felt with Charm? Well, I have 1 mountain in my 21 lands and then 20 lands that make blue. So, mana's fine. I know that you're a member of Twitch chat, so you asked that question because I had my 1 basic mountain in that game that you just watched while I had Charm and I couldn't cast it. But in general, the mana is fine. Actually, a pretty good draw. Definitely gotta murder that one. And Library Exile. Really weird play. Do they have a 3rd Scavenging Ooze? This feels like it's either a big mistake on their part or it's they have a 3rd Scavenging Ooze play. Or another piece of graveyard hate. Because like my Expressive Iteration, the graveyard doesn't matter, right? That match definitely showcases, like, the reason why this deck that we're playing is never going to be a tiered deck in the format. People that want to beat you will be able to just pack in a bunch of graveyard hate and beat you. And while sometimes you'll be able to sidestep it, more often than not, your deck is just so graveyard dependent, you're going to lose. Which I think I actually prefer the Queen Lathis combo build of this. That build needs 2 Storm Count to combo, but the fact that it doesn't have a bunch of uncastable Blade Wings you have to draw feels a lot better in the post-board games where they're attacking your graveyard. This build that this deck is playing is probably a much better best of 1 build, but I think in best of 3 where you're going to try and play through hate cards, this build leaves a bit to be desired. Hey, thanks for the 3rd of a year, Angry Hobo, and thanks for the feedback on the YouTube channel. I didn't send out a sub survey this month because I've only been doing the new YouTube stuff for a few days, so definitely look for the survey next month. I'll be looking for feedback from folks on those new channels once they've been up for a little bit. Rivera, thank you for the 34 months. Welcome back. Alright, if we spike a... Our opponent was going to miss their land drop, chat. For those wondering what happened there. Just Magic the Gathering things. Bring in some fries, some counter spells, and a couple of Narsets here. That seems fine. We'll fetch a basic, have untapped Sulfur Falls on 2, and then we'll be able to Expressive Iteration on 3. Definitely want search for Azcanta in the control mirror. Oh, we do have to discard the hand size here. That's awkward.
Just the trick for this.
Would Hermit be an okay option for the board? Yeah, it's probably fine. I guess this is loose if they stick Teferi next turn on me.
I concede.
Just another Narset, it's fine.
Keep an open mind.
We have 2 shots at a land to play a Narset of our own with Memory Lapse. Or we could leave that there and have Dispute, he says, before getting Dovin's vetoed.
You're focused and disciplined, encountering hone your prowess.
Just load up on counter spells here.
Thoughtfulness before action.
They drew extra cards while I had Narset in play, chat. That's illegal. They discarded a Soul Guide Lantern rather than play it. Is interesting. Hand, Library, Exile. We played Vodrock turns. We have not. No. Losing our Narset here is big sad. I guess she drew her cards already. We're going to flip Azcanta over. Yeah, I'm supposed to have been that. We're going to be snapping off cancels a little aggressively here for sure. mean, I don't think the Vodrok turns deck was ever particularly good. If I'm being honest. It was a deck that never really wanted to play Memory Lapse a ton. I didn't really want to get my charm back, Gindy. Why do I want more copies of 3-mana Counterspell? I don't want Counterspell in this current situation, right? I have a fuck ton of Counterspells. And we just played this all and we're dead. Yeah. I want to finish this match, but I'm gonna be done with this deck after this one. It's fine. It's just like getting hosed by Graveyard Hate and not having reasonable counterplay to it just kind of sucks. And like having all these counter spells and our opponent playing a Dissolve just kind of sucks. Definitely feels like, and honestly, it doesn't surprise me that this matchup feels bad and like we're behind, because this is a big part of why if people recall, the Indomitable Creativity decks looked very powerful at the start of the format, and they're excellent against creature decks, but they just are so bad into these control decks because our deck is basically trying to do the same thing our opponent's deck is doing, only they have Teferi as their win condition, and I have Bladewings in my deck that aren't castable magic cards. So like, our decks are trying to do similar things, except my deck has a bunch of clunky blanks that aren't good when we're not ready to combo, and their deck has enough answers that I can't realistically combo. Alright, I'm gonna shock this in, because if they tap out for Iteration here, we can, like, Prismari Command and potentially kill them with a good draw. I'm gonna be greedy into land here. Remember, you can always find archives of everything that I streamed up on my YouTube channel. I always try and put that wrap-up segment at the end. Yeah, I'm gonna be done. We just don't have any lands, and our opponent has uncounterable counterspells. I think this deck is a better best of one deck. I think in a best of three setting, the combination of Graveyard Hate and popularity of Jeskai Control just make this deck feel bad to mediocre. I think in general, because I just hate the play patterns of getting hosed by my opponent's Graveyard Hate so much, I don't really like the Bladewing the Risen combo. So, what is it? Queen? How do we spell here? Yeah, Lathless the Dragon Queen is another variation you could play of this archetype, but I think if you're like, Jeff, you have to play Dragonstorm, what would you play? I think I would just play more Terror of the Peaks alongside Dragon Queens, so that way you could just like cast your spells when you draw them and your opponent has a Rest in Peace in play or miscellaneous Graveyard Hate or whatever. Also, like, just having a bunch of dragons you can draw and cast is actually like a pretty decent plan into your opponent's fistful of counter spells in the post-board games, because then they don't only have to counter your masteries, they like also have to counter your dragons, otherwise your dragons are going to attack and kill them. So, yeah.